Welcome to desk exercises.
Cut.
Hi.
Cut.
Welcome to... You wouldn't believe what I can do with these things from the hardware store. Hey there everybody, it's Monday, April 13th, 2020, and I wanted to talk about desk exercises in this video. Okay, so what we're going to do in this video is going to be covering exercises and stretches that you can do right from your workstation. Very practical exercises to relieve stress. So this video is called 10 stress relieving stretches you can do at your desk. Okay, so let me talk about posture basics before we go on here. So obviously when you're at your workstation, when you're sitting down, for your upper body posture, you're going to be going to want to stay as straight as possible. Okay, so if you can think about your spine as being straight as opposed to rounded over. So when the more you're hunched towards the computer, you're going to be rounded over. Okay, so most of the exercises we're doing today are based on relieving the stress of spinal flexion, which is this forward position that most of us fall into when we're sitting at a desk. Okay, when we're sitting sideways at a desk. So you can see me kind of hunched over here. That's spinal flexion. What we want to get is spinal extension. So you see how my shoulders, my ears, my shoulders and my hips are kind of all in line there. That's a good posture position. It's more ideal if I had something to keep the natural lower curvature of my back here. Okay, like a pillow or something if I was going to slide all the way back, so that I could relax in a good upright posture position and still do my work. That's much better for workstation alignment, okay? But most of the exercises today are going to be based on getting you out of spinal flexion, which is bent over, and into spinal extension. Okay, so before we go into the 10 stretches that I wanted to show you, what I wanted to show you were just some really basic movements here. So think about your neck too. A lot of times when you're staring at a screen, even if your posture's good, your neck's not really meant to be frozen like a block and just stationary the whole time. So I always think about your neck motion too. So when you're relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed and your body's relaxed. When you start going into this little exercise program, you should push away from your desk and maybe think about neck mobility first, okay? So just think in terms of simple stuff like side to side or rotational type of stretches where you hold each one for like maybe 10 seconds. Rotation, all the things you're not doing when you're staring at a screen and you're rigid and things like that. So you can also go up and down, side to side. You can do diagonal stretches, but I always think about kind of neck mobility first, and then let me show you the 10 stretches next. Okay, so desk stretch number 1. Okay, so we're going to do the first 5 sitting, and then we're going to do the last 5 standing, just so I can give you a nice balance. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is going to bring your hands behind your head. Okay, and what we're going to do is an open and close on this one. Okay, so we're going to get good posture, so you're already getting in a good spinal extension here. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm going to press my elbows back, getting the spine extended. Hold that for about 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, okay? And then you're going to bring your elbows close together, kind of as close together as possible. If you can get them to touch, that's really good. It's pretty hard for me to touch them. Okay, just to kind of bring the scapula apart and together, bringing my shoulder blades together. Well, what I'm really trying to do is just keep my hands on the back of my head and press my elbows back. And that's stretch number 1. Okay, so stretch number 2. Okay, so this is going to be an overhead clasp to a forward clasp. Okay, so same thing. When we're in that forward spinal flexion position, this one's really going to help alleviate some of that pressure. Okay, and you can do this right from a sitting position. So as I mentioned, try to sit out from your desk or your seat a little bit, so you're maybe out on the edge of your seat. And then what we're going to do, clasp your fingers together. Okay, and then we're going to go forward. So you're already bringing your arms forward. That already feels pretty good. Okay, we're going to go to an overhead clasp here. Reach up, bring your chest out, and bring your arms and your hands as far back as is comfortable. Okay, your body's going to let you know when to stop. And you're going to hold that for, somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds. And then when you're coming down, just come down into a forward position. And we are getting into some spinal flexion there, but we're also spreading the shoulder blades apart and getting the kind of the opposite stretch. And then we can go right back up. And you can kind of breathe out while you're stretching, and then come down to that forward position. And you can maybe go 10 times in each position for about 10 seconds each. Okay, so stretch number 3. Okay, so this one is going to be a stretch for the upper trapezius muscles and the muscles of the upper back here. Okay, a lot of the muscles that get kind of fatigued when we're sitting and staring at a screen and your head's locked in place, okay? So what we're gonna do on this one is reaching your hands over, and if you can see my leg here, what I'm gonna do with my hands is reach my arm, my right arm, over my leg, and my left one on the inside of my thigh there. I'm gonna bring my head down towards my left thigh, and then I'm gonna just lean back and pull. And you're gonna feel a nice stretch kind of through the back here. And you can kind of reach behind your knee and stretch. And then obviously when you do the other side, to make sure you're gonna cross over the same way, okay? So you can kind of spread your feet apart a little bit, crossing over with the left arm. The right arm is coming on the inside. I can feel my fingers touching, okay? And then my head's coming down towards the right side. And then I'm leaning back. And try to hold each one of those stretches for about 30 seconds or so, and maybe try 5 times each. Okay, so stretch number 4 is fantastic for your posture. Okay, so these are elbow touches. These are easy to do. You can do them sitting. They're great standing. And keep in mind, you can do all of these standing as well. Okay, so what we're gonna do on this one, sit up with good posture first, okay? And then elbow touches. I'm trying to bring my elbows together. Obviously I can't behind me, but that's the idea. So you're trying to bring your elbows together in a low position, not a high position. Nice and low, your shoulders are depressed. In physical therapy, you're thinking about shoulder elevation. So when your shoulders are shrugged, they're elevated. You don't want to have shrugged shoulders, elevated shoulders, and you don't want to have spinal flexion. That's 2 of the big things that get really stressful on the body, okay? So we want to have spinal or shoulder depression on this one, okay? And then what we're gonna do is just focus on keeping your elbows down, your hands flat towards the ground. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, hold for 5 seconds, come back, squeeze. Same thing, we're gonna do it maybe 20 times. You would be breathing out while you're pulling in. And try that maybe 20 times in a row. Okay, so stretch number 5. So this is our shoulder crossover stretch. Okay, so you've probably seen this one done. Like I said, you could do this standing. We're gonna cross the shoulder over. Okay, so what we wanna do is bring your shoulder across your chest. Okay, now I've seen this done wrong a lot of times. A lot of people shrug their shoulder and pull. That's not very comfortable, okay? You're gonna get a lot of pressure up here. What we wanna do here is just bring the shoulder across the chest kind of low, not up to shoulder level, okay? You're gonna reach behind your elbow and then just pull the shoulder in. So you notice my shoulder's not getting shrugged this way. That's the big mistake I see on this one. Make sure the shoulder's down, so you're gonna come in low and then just pull it in across your chest. And if you want to add a little rotation to that, and you're getting some good trunk rotation with shoulder stretching there. And then turn your head all the way to the other way. And that's called a sitting book opening stretch, okay? So you can kind of put all those together. Shoulder crossover stretch, okay? And then all we do is add a little rotation and then turn your head the other way. Oh yeah. And that's our sitting book opening stretch. On that one, just go maybe 30 seconds each side. Try 10 times each way. Okay, so stretch number 6. Okay, so this is called a standing W stretch. Okay, same thing on this one, shoulder depression. So make sure your shoulders aren't shrugging. Okay, so your shoulders are down. We're making a W, so one part of the W, my head's another part, and then the hand's the other part. W, right? Okay, so we're here, and then what we're going to focus on, same thing, good standing posture. Okay, so if you can see me from the side, good standing posture already, so everything's as lined up as you can be. Okay, and then what we're going to do is focus on bringing your elbows back, squeeze the shoulders together, shoulder blades together. Okay, and then the opposite position after about 5 seconds, bring your hands together, and then if you can, bring your elbows all the way together. Same type of thing, we're just stretching your scapula the other way, okay, and then we're gonna come back. So it's about 5 seconds in each position. Stretching, you can breathe out during the stretch. Return to that same position, and same idea with your shoulders, just try to make sure they're staying down the whole time as you're stretching. Try 10 times with about a 5-second hold in each position. Okay, so stretch number 7. Okay, so now we're focusing on the legs a little bit here. We've been focusing on a lot of the trunk and the neck and the shoulders and the back. That's great. Okay, so a great stretch for your quadriceps. That's all the muscles right here on the front of the leg, and including the hip flexor a little bit here too. We're gonna do a specific one for that, but your quadricep, You can use the back of your chair. So same thing where you can using your desk area, you can use your countertop, you can use your desk, you can use your chair. Okay, so you've seen this one done. Okay, it's a great one to do if you're taking a 10-minute break. Get up and do these, try these stretches. So this one, I usually grab above my shoe here instead of grabbing my toe. If I do that, it puts a little torque on my surgery knee. Okay, but if you can, try to grab right above your shoe, and then you're going to try same thing. Get good posture so you're not leaning over this way. Okay, and the desk or the chair is going to give you a good place to stand or give you some stable place to hold on to. Okay, so you would be going here, and then basically trying to pull your heel up to your bottom as high as possible or as high as comfortable while maintaining pretty good posture. And holding that for about 30 seconds, and then you just switch legs, obviously. Same thing, make sure you hold on to something stable. Don't just try this out in the open or you're gonna lose your balance, okay? So you wanna be holding on to something. And same idea, you might get a different amount of stretching on one leg or the other too. So don't be surprised if one leg has a little bit more flexibility than the other. Mine certainly does. So same thing, you would try to stand up really straight first, and then you're gonna just pull up on the leg until you're getting the whole front of the quadricep and a little bit of the hip flexor to stretch. Holding each one for 30 seconds, try at least 3 times on each side. Okay, so exercise number 8. Okay, so this is gonna be for the hamstrings. We just got done with the quadriceps, the whole front of the leg here. We're gonna switch into the hamstrings. Hamstrings get really tight when you're sitting at a desk all day long. Your hip flexors, when you're sitting, your quadriceps and your hamstrings all get very, very tight because what are they not doing? They're not moving like they normally would, okay? So hamstring stretch using the back of your chair, okay? This is a convenient stretch to do, and it actually stretches some of your back muscles too, and that's what I like. You can use your desk or you can use your chair. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna bring my feet pretty close together, okay? And I'm gonna try to keep my knees straight, okay? That's the hard thing about this one. And then what I'm gonna do is just drop my head down, and then just bring my head towards the floor, and you're gonna feel a whole bunch of stretch right back through here. What you don't wanna do is as you come down, allow your knees to bend. That's gonna take the stretch away, okay? So stay there, and then you're gonna bring your head down, and then just bring it down and hold. Let your chest fall towards the floor, okay? And your head's just falling down naturally. And same thing on that one. Maybe try 3 sets, 3 times, and maybe 3 times in a row for 30 seconds on each stretch. Okay, so desk stretch number 9. We're almost there. Okay, so we're working on the hip flexor specifically here. There's a few different ways we can do it that I'm going to show you, but for your workstation, especially standing with a chair, here's a great way to stretch your hip flexor, okay? Using the back of the chair. So what you're doing, notice what I'm doing with my toe there. I'm not putting my foot flat on the ground, okay? I'm keeping the toe up, okay? And then I'm taking a step in towards the chair. I'm getting good posture, okay? So if I'm leaning over this way, it's not gonna give me much of a stretch. I'm trying to stretch this whole hip flexor muscle. This is the muscle that's really tight while we're sitting all day long, okay? This hip flexor muscle too. So if we don't loosen up, this is a really powerful muscle. So if this is really tight, it's gonna pull you forward and it's really gonna stress out your low back muscles. So a lot of times, the muscles that are responsible for a lot of your low back stress are actually located in the front of the legs here, and your hip flexor is a big part of that, okay? So with the hip flexor stretch, toes pointing, legs coming in, and you're getting good posture. And then you notice my front knee is just leaning towards the chair, and I'm feeling a whole lot of stretch right up through this, high up on the leg here, okay? Stretch, notice my toe is up and my heel's off the ground, okay? And it would be the same on the other leg. You'd come out, okay? And then you just bring in the front knee forward until you get a good stretch through the back leg. The whole back leg staying as straight as you can too on this one, so try not to bend your knee on the hip flexor stretch. For a variation on this one too, if you want to get down on the floor, you can get a little bit more stretch through your hip flexor just by leaning forward in this kind of position here, okay? It might not be most comfortable on the office floor, but at home, right? Here, and then you can even bring the arms up. Oh, and that's a really, really, really good stretch for this whole hip flexor area. Seeing it from the right-hand side here, okay? it would be there. And it's just a variation of the one we did standing up, okay? So this is here, I'm getting a lot of stretch here already, okay? If I wanted to take that a little further, I could bring my arms up if it was comfortable. Good posture. So whichever variation of that one you do, same thing. Try 30 seconds to a minute on each one. This hip flexor is really tight, so try 30 seconds to a minute and try 3 times on each side. Okay, and desk stretch number 10. We're finally there. Okay, so we kind of went head to toe in terms of stretching here, right? So let's do a calf stretch. Okay, so for the calves, same thing. If the calves, if your feet are flat on the floor all day long, okay, and you're not doing the normal motion that your feet are doing, okay, like you're running and moving and things like that, your calves are going to get very stiff, and the front of your thigh or the front of your legs are going to get very stiff here. This anterior tibialis muscle raises your foot up, okay, and then your calf muscles bring your heels off the ground. Okay, so by working those muscles in a little different direction, you can loosen them up. But I wanted to show you a calf stretch as number 10 today. Okay, so same thing. We're in the same position as that standing hip flexor stretch, except what you'll notice is my foot has to be flat on the ground. Okay, so this one, now the focus is suddenly switched to all back here, including this Achilles tendon here at the back of the heel. So we're going down. I don't want to go too far forward with this front leg yet, okay? So just make sure you've got this back leg on the ground, okay? And then this one can be varied depending on how flexible you are, okay? So in my position, all I'm going to try to do, same thing, good posture. So if we're doing this all bent over like this, it's just going to take away from the stretch, okay? So we want to be leaning forward and then go until you feel a stretch through that calf muscle there. Your foot is pointed nice and straight, okay? And then you can, same thing, you can use the desk or a chair like this in order to stabilize yourself. I wouldn't try it just out in the middle of nowhere, okay? So stretching, and then likewise getting the left-hand side. You're gonna put the heel down first, okay? And like I said, you can use a wall for this too. It's a kind of a standard calf stretch, okay? And then what I'll do is once I feel the heel is down, I'm gonna put the front foot forward and just come forward with the knee far enough until I feel a pretty good stretch. I can't stretch further than that, okay? So stretching, letting your shoulders relax. And same thing on this one, maybe try 3 times on each side for about 30 seconds. All right, so next time you're stuck at your desk, take 10 minutes to do some of these stretches. You can sit, you can stand, make sure you're getting up as a kind of a final tip too. Make sure you're getting up every 10 minutes or 15 minutes to kind of stretch out, lengthen your body, put your arms over your head, move around, and remember with your posture should be good at all times. Sitting or standing, that's gonna make a big difference in terms of the wear and tear it does on your body and your need to stretch, okay? So try those stretches at work next time you have a chance to take a break, and I'll see you next time.